early hours of July the 6th, 2012, a teenage girl slipped quietly out of her house in Morgantown, West Virginia. She didn't pack a bag. She didn't leave a note. She didn't tell her parents where she was going. She believed she was meeting her friends. She never came back. Skylar Neese was 16 years old. She was a high school student at University High School. Friends described her as loyal, outspoken, and deeply attached to the people she trusted. She was the kind of friend who showed up, who defended others, who believed that honesty mattered. Those qualities would be used against her. Skylar lived with her parents in a quiet neighborhood. They were close, protective. That night, nothing seemed unusual. Security cameras later captured Skylar sneaking out her bedroom window around 12:30 a.m. She walked down the street and got into a car. The car belonged to one of her closest friends. That detail would matter more than anyone realized at the time. When Skylar didn't return home the next morning, her parents panicked. This wasn't typical behavior. Skylar didn't disappear without telling someone. They called her friends. They called her school. They called the police. At first, investigators treated the case as a runaway. Skylar was a teenager. She had argued with her parents in the past. That assumption slowed everything down. But Skylar's parents refused to accept it. They organized searches. They plastered flyers. They went on television. They asked one question over and over. Why would Skylar leave without her phone? Skylar's two best friends, Rachel Schoaf and Sheila Eddy, were deeply involved in the search. They comforted Skylar's parents. They joined vigils. They posted messages online begging Skylar to come home. They looked devastated. Behind the scenes, something was very wrong. Investigators began reviewing Skylar's social media activity. They noticed a shift in her friendships in the months before her disappearance. Tension, passive-aggressive posts, cryptic messages. Something had changed. Sheila Eddy and Rachel Schoaf had been inseparable from Skylar for years. They were a trio, known around school as close friends. But by the summer of 2012, cracks had formed. Skylar had begun to feel excluded, ignored, targeted. She confided in others that she felt betrayed, that her friends were turning on her. Investigators subpoenaed phone records, text messages, call logs. The data told a story that contradicted appearances. On the night Skylar disappeared, her phone had communicated with both Sheila and Rachel, right up until the moment she left the house. After that, silence. Surveillance footage from Skylar's neighborhood showed the car arriving. It showed Skylar getting in. It showed the car leaving. What it didn't show was Skylar ever returning. Investigators traced the route the car took. It traveled out of town, across state lines, into rural Pennsylvania. The focus shifted. This wasn't a runaway. This was something else. For months, the case stalled. There were no witnesses, no body, no crime scene. Skylar had vanished without a trace. Behind closed doors, however, pressure was building. Rachel Schoaf was unraveling. She struggled to maintain the lie. She posted strange messages online, references to guilt, to pain, to secrets. In December 2012, Rachel made a decision. She contacted police and asked to speak with them alone. What she told investigators changed everything. Rachel confessed. She admitted that Skylar was dead. She admitted that she and Sheila had planned it for months. According to Rachel, the plan was simple. Lure Skylar out, drive her somewhere isolated, kill her. The motive was chilling in its simplicity. They didn't like her anymore. They found her annoying. They wanted her gone. Rachel told investigators that on the drive to Pennsylvania, everything felt normal. They talked, they laughed. Skylar had no idea. When they reached a secluded area, they stopped the car. Rachel said they walked into the woods. She said Sheila gave the signal, and then they attacked Skylar. Skylar fought hard. She screamed. She begged. She trusted them. And that trust broke her. Rachel described how they stabbed Skylar repeatedly, how they left her bleeding, how they buried her body in a shallow grave, then drove home. When investigators confronted Sheila Eddy, she denied everything. She mocked the idea. She told friends she was innocent. She posted messages online taunting investigators. But the evidence closed in. Rachel led police to the location. In January 2013, Skylar Neese's remains were found. The autopsy confirmed what Rachel had said. Skylar had been stabbed multiple times. She died in the woods, alone. The community was shattered. Parents questioned everything: friendships, social media, the idea of safety. How could two teenage girls plan something like this? For so long, without anyone noticing? Psychologists later explained the dynamics. Group hostility, shared resentment, reinforced cruelty. Once the idea took hold, it escalated. Rachel pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. She was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Sheila pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. She received a life sentence. At sentencing, Skylar's parents spoke. They described the loss, the betrayal, the unimaginable pain of trusting the wrong people. Sheila showed little remorse. Rachel did. But remorse didn't undo anything. Skylar Neese didn't die because she trusted strangers. She died because she trusted friends. Her case became a warning about peer violence, about social cruelty, about how malice can hide behind familiarity. Skylar's parents now speak publicly. They advocate for awareness, for listening when children say something feels wrong. Skylar was 16 years old. She believed friendship meant safety. She believed loyalty was mutual. She walked out of her house to meet people she loved and walked into a trap. The last people to see Skylar alive were the ones who planned her death. The timeline didn't lie, and eventually, neither did they.